Feeding the Homeless event in Greater Los Angeles on Sunday, November 10th from noon until at 11129 South Central Avenue in Los Angeles. If you would like to donate or volunteer, please call 310-981-6377 or email them at feedingourfriends05@gmail.com. feedingourfriends05@gmail.com. It's the 15th anniversary of Feeding Our Friends on the Outside, Sunday, November 10th from noon until 11129 South Central Avenue in Los Angeles. For more information, call 310-981-6377. 310-981-6377. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Zoe Williams, the voice of reason. If your relationship is in trouble, I'm the dude to call. Has your soulmate become your cellmate? Does black love still exist? What are your bedroom turnoffs? Fantasies and fetishes. Financial infidelity. I'm dating a fat person. Are they worth the wait? Trust me, this gonna be crazy.
How about the heavy stuff?
The child wasn't his, and he still had to pay child support.
It's a very heated topic.
How was that right?
Mama's baby, daddy's maybe.
I just have so many questions I want to ask you.
I just like to kiss. Is there something wrong with that?
Damn.
He told me he had a vasectomy. I'm pregnant.
Betrayal has been committed.
Hit you with the bad pipes routine.
How does he maintain his humposity?
He likes it when it pinches my neck.
Why can't you open up, brother?
I'm a karate man. Karate man rules on the inside. They don't show their weaknesses.
Yeah.
How do you write women so well?
Zoe Williams,
Reason and accountability.
the voice of reason.
Why did you give her everything that I wanted? Because it's what you wanted. If you knew that I wanted it, why didn't you just give it to me when we were together? Because if I gave you everything that you wanted, you wouldn't need me anymore. Why are you treating her so much better than you treated me? Because I knew that's how you wanted to be treated. So you're using everything that I wanted to love bomb the next person? That's one way of putting it, but I learned how to treat other people better by treating you badly. If you learned all that, why can you apply it to our relationship? Because you're a better person than I am. People like you. You're genuine. I can't be any of that. So you left me because I was better than you? Yes, there's one reason. And then I know you were going to eventually outgrow me. Well, did you ever love me? What is going on, beautiful people? Welcome to another episode of A Narcissist Explains. I am self-aware narcissist Lee Hammock, and I use my platform to raise awareness for narcissistic personality disorder, get more people into therapy, and also in the process of doing all of that, validate the victims and survivors of said disorder. This series is where I just take my TikToks and my YouTube shorts that y'all love so much. You love them, you love them, you love them. And I just make them longer. The one you just watched was a skit I did about real closure from a narcissist. Because so many people, I think that's one of the main things. That's one of the main things that I think when I'm talking to people over Zoom, when I'm doing my one-on-ones and things like that, is that they are looking for closure from narcissistic people or from their toxic relationships or just from their relationships in general. People want to know that they matter. People want to know what a relationship went wrong and things like that. But that's the kind of the catch-22 with a narcissist, because closure from a narcissist. First of all, let me reel it back in real quick. Closure is something that you have to give yourself. You have to close out the relationship in your own mind, no matter how the relationship ended, whether you got rid of them or they discarded you. No matter how the relationship ended, cheating, whatever. Closure is something that you have to give to yourself. It just is. You know what I mean? It really is. Closure is something that you have to give to yourself. And once they, like I said, once they, it's my text, sorry. And once the narcissist knows you need closure, once they know that you are requesting closure from them, they will hold it over your head and not give it to you. Hey, can we meet up? I think we need some closure. You've moved on, they've moved on. You need closure. For what though? Because when you are asking a narcissist for closure, you're literally giving them another opportunity to tell you how you weren't good enough for them, to tell you how you were not enough, to tell you why everything that you did, everything that you tried to do for them, why everything that you sacrificed for them, why it wasn't enough, and they never ask you to do that. Because a lot of times you get into this situation where they'll say that too. They'll open their mouth and say it like, hey, I didn't ask you to do that. You like, I gave you everything. I did so. I spent $3,000 on your birthday. I bought you some shoes. I bought you a purse. I bought you all this and that. And they were like, well, I didn't ask you to do that. But you know, if you didn't do those things, the narcissist will hold that against you. Or you don't do anything for me. You never loved me. And people were like, and this is the main thing right here. It's in the past. I'm gonna do another skit about that here in a few minutes. I just inspired myself. Isn't it amazing that you can inspire yourself sometimes? Like, it's in the past. It's one of the main things I hear from people when they deal with narcissists. Like, because anything that you do for a narcissist that is not right now within this second, within this spectrum of 1 minute, you have a minute. I think the narcissist, like, from the difference between the past and the present is a minute. So anything that you have not done.
Man, that is a narcissist talking. Literally. Clinically diagnosed Lee Hammond. He is a clinically diagnosed narcissist, and he's telling you how they get down. But I know not everyone is a clinically diagnosed narcissist, right? But a lot of people have narcissistic tendencies. And not only that, a lot of people, and let's just be honest, let's just be transparent. I'm this person. I've been this person at different stages of my life. As I get older, I get a little bit more wise, right? Incrementally, right? I get a little bit better, okay? The person I am today is not the person I was 7 years ago, 8 years ago. I'm a different kind of person, but it's taken a lot of work, okay? But all the work that I've done puts me probably right where you are. So when I say this, I'm saying this about everybody, including myself. We live in a spiritually immature society, an emotionally immature society, a psychologically immature society. And it all plays out in our relationships. Again, if you want closure, it's easy to say, hey, give it to yourself. But if you think closure is a narrative, do you know how many people lie to themselves? How are you going to get closure if everything you tell yourself is a lie? If you can't be honest about who you really are in that moment, what you are, how are you going to get closure? Nah, I don't want closure with me. I want closure with you. You've aggrandized the reflection. What is the reflection reflecting? You hear people say life be lifing? Well, the reflection be reflecting. What is it reflecting? It's reflecting your unfinished internal work. That is the spiritual nature of relationships. You can have all the money in the world. Cam Newton, Nick Cannon. You can have all the babies in the world. You can have everything you want, right? And I'm not just trying to single those brothers out. I'm just saying, I'm using their status here. You could be the wealthiest guys in the world. Hell, I knew Quincy Jones. Left $80 million to each one of his 7 kids. I'm saying no matter what you accumulate in life, the spiritual purpose of relationships don't change. I had conversation with Q about his relationships, and he was like, man, I'm married to the music. I'm married to the music, man. I got to hear the melody, you know. And I just can't come running, you know. And if I'm in the studio, man, we was in the studio, you know, for months, man. Me and Mike and, you know, sleeping on the floor, waking up, mixing records, you know. Hey, man, I got to stay with the melody. When the melody calls, man, I got to get on it. He was like, God gives you goosebumps when you know you're onto something. Again, when you're dealing with people like that, right? It took him to slow down. Took him to slow down. Once he slowed down, he was able to go, all right, here we go. The family. Let me catch up. Let me get back on what I should have been on earlier. You got to understand, when Quincy does Thriller, Quincy is 50 already. He's 50. That's why Epic Records was like, he's too old, he's a jazz guy. He's 50, but he's still chasing the music, chasing his purpose. He wasn't always present. He wasn't always there. He was always present for the music, though. And I'm just giving you an example by using Quincy. Man, you can have the world. The world can be your oyster. Everything outside of you could be lavish and beautiful, and you could have the latest Audi, the latest Bugatti, the latest whatever. But if you don't have internal victories, do you understand? If you don't have internal victories, yeah. Why did you leave? Didn't I give you everything you need? You think giving me what I said I wanted was the anchor to hold me to you? Ugh. All right. Nzinga, Pensacola, Florida. Get back in here. Let's get your final thought on this thing.
When it comes to closure or being ghosted or not having a resolution, I think for me, I've learned to do mental funerals in my head.
You learned to do what?
Mental funeral. You have to do a mental funeral for people sometimes.
A mental funeral. Talk to me.
It includes the eulogy. It includes a choir singing. You know, the pastor doing his thing, and even a burial sometimes, because, you know, sometimes you may think you need closure, but for me, the mental funeral is part of my acceptance piece that this is no longer going forward, you know, and it's over. Because for me, you know, and I'm just going to feel like that, I don't think closure is a real thing. I think once something ends, whether it's acknowledged or not, you know, you just have to accept the fact.
Right.
And
wait.
the only, and that's.
Stay with me, because you're inspiring me here. Just stay with me. Play with me. Play with me. Stay and play. Let's play. The mental funeral is such a powerful image in my mind. You said you were going to do a eulogy. You're going to do all of that, right? To close out this situation with a person. Right? Now my question becomes, and we can apply this, this is general. If you go into a relationship with an insecure attachment style, and you come out of it with the same insecure attachment style, who should you have the mental funeral for? The person who exited or the attachment style? Because isn't that what we're trying to do in relationship, is get rid of the insecure attachment?
Have you ever been to 2 funerals in one day?
Talk to me. Let's go.
Because when you say the person, you know, you can look at it from a third person point of view. So you may need to have a funeral for who you were while you were in that relationship. Because sometimes...
Come on, Nzinga.
Because sometimes this relationship is a mirror. Like, I feel like the bidirectionality and the sometimes it can make people lack accountability. If every time I say, well, so you did this, and then you come back and say, well, you did this, then you're not looking at the reflection, because sometimes if somebody's telling you this is what you do, to me, sometimes there lies the reflection, and then sometimes you just have to be quiet.
Right.
And just hear what they have to say. It's just like, you know, when you have a whole bunch of siblings and your older brother's getting close, it's just not your turn, baby.
Right.
And sometimes it's just not your turn. So sometimes you need to have a funeral for who you were in that relationship. And then you need to take time. You have to take time to mourn, to have a bereavement process before you jump into something else.
I like
That's why I always look at people when they, jump from one relationship to another. It's like you didn't believe, you didn't reflect, you didn't, but I guess that'd be a little judgy.
No, that ain't judgy. You know what it is. They do it because being with themselves is horrible to them.
That makes me sad, though.
Listen, I'm gonna spend time with myself and process what happened. Processing hurts.
Yeah.
Processing reveals you to you. I don't want to do that. Let me go on to the next one.
Well, I'm my own best friend, so that's why sometimes it's like, I don't think I love myself most. I just love myself first.
Come on.
I have to love myself first. And and that was it took me years, I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh, I always been like, nah, it ain't always been like that. It took a while. Things have to happen. You have to hurt in order to heal. And I wanted to ask you had, and then I'm going to end it, but you had said something about the wounds. But how does somebody with wounds can also recognize somebody, like, doesn't that make them like a wounded healer? How does that all work? Because you were saying, when you have the wounds and you're not taking care of your wounds and you're hurting others, but sometimes I think people with wounds can recognize them in others and help others.
Well, of course.
Is that not how it works?
Yeah, in a dark sense, that's what Patrick Carnes talked about in his theory called trauma bonding. The wounds in me recognize the wounds in you. But I would push back. Nobody ever heals somebody else. Healing is only reserved for you. Just like you can't do somebody else's self-work, right? You can only do your self-work. So when you say a wounded healer, what that really is somebody who is wounded that inspires someone else to heal. They're not, do you see? I can instigate your healing, right?
Okay.
I can help initiate, I can help you to, you heard the old saying, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make them drink. See, that's how you know. Listen, look at what's happening to spiritual dialogue right now. It's being genderized. Come on, let's do this mindfulness circle for the sisters. Mindfulness is for humanity. They're taking the spiritual points, talking points, and they're genderizing them. Right?
I never looked at it like that.
You understand what I'm saying? When we're dealing with relationships, do you understand? Relationships are bidirectional, and they cover all the genders. And men can heal like women can heal, but men have to have the testicular fortitude to want to look at their wounds and embrace their wounds without judgment and condemnation. Stay with me. When we come forward, we're going to wrap up our girl, Nzinga.
Reasons. The reasons that we're here, the reasons that we fear, our feelings won't disappear. You're listening to the voice of reason with Zoe Williams on KBLA Talk 1580. Are you an entrepreneur looking to take your business to new heights? KBLA Talk 1580 is your partner in success. Every day, we celebrate and elevate Black-owned businesses across our community. Our KBLA SMB Marketplace currently features The Cookie Dip, Bad Ash Bakes, Hair Concoction, Higher Education Accreditation Consulting, LACC Radiology Technology Department, and Malik Books. Your business deserves to be heard. Let KBLA Talk 1580 amplify your voice and connect you with our powerful community of listeners. Email smb@kbla1580.com today. That's smb@kbla1580.com. At KBLA Talk 1580, we've got your black. If we're the ones disproportionately impacted by these climate catastrophes, why should we be silent? Turning up the volume all year long on the climate conversation for KBLA Talk 1580. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 reminds you, when we fight, we win. The Youth Justice Coalition is challenging America's addiction to incarceration and discrimination. YJC works to dismantle policies leading to mass incarceration, law enforcement violence, and the school-to-prison pipeline. Their approach, transformative justice, community intervention, free LA high school, legal defense, and system monitoring. YJC promotes safety without relying on prisons. Their goal, prevent system contact and help people exit the system through direct action, advocacy, and education. Want to get involved or need help? Call 323-235-4243. That's 323-235-4243. Join YJC in creating change. When we fight, we win. KBLA Talk 1580, your voice for justice. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
If you're living with dry age-related macular degeneration or dry AMD, you may be at risk for developing geographic atrophy or GA. GA can be unpredictable and progress rapidly, leading to irreversible vision loss. Now there's something you can do to
slow it down, get it going slower.
Izervay is proven to slow GA progression.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Izervay or avacincaptad pagel is a prescription eye injection used to treat GA. Don't take it if you have an infection or active swelling in or around your eye. Izervay can cause eye infection, retinal detachment, or increased risk of wet AMD. Izervay may temporarily increase eye pressure. Your vision may be impaired after an eye injection or exam. Don't delay. Ask your doctor about Izervay today.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Visit Izervay.com. That's IZERVAY.com.
You know you want some more. It's the voice of reason with Zoe Williams on KBLA Talk 1580.
So it's a bit of a riddle. What's the difference between closure and justice in a narcissistic relationship? What are your thoughts on this? Kind of a trick question, as they all are. Well, I can tell you is you're not likely to get either one in a narcissistic relationship. That much is similar between closure and justice. Now, in narcissistic relationships, people desperately want closure. I often think that justice gets subsumed under closure, but they're actually not the same thing. I do believe that justice is a higher standard. Closure is something that can happen even if there's not whatever we consider to be justice. So how do we get closure? Accountability. The other person who's done something wrong in a relationship or something that hurts us, taking responsibility. Understanding a person's motivations, getting a meaningful apology. Closure doesn't necessarily allay a broken heart or make you okay with what happened, but there is a wholeness we sometimes can feel, at least closer to wholeness with closure, a sort of closing the circle, as it were, and it can help people let go and move forward into healing. So you may wonder, and I've talked about this before, but to revisit it, Why is closure so rare in narcissistic relationships? Because as a rule, people who are narcissistic are not accountable. They don't take responsibility. They tend to shift blame, and they don't give sincere apologies. The shame and entitlement that are part of narcissism and the subsequent defensiveness block narcissistic people from ever meaningfully copping to bad behavior, so they don't. That leaves the other person in the relationship walking around in a bit of a haze, alternating between blaming themselves, being angry, being confused, but never quite understanding what happened. Like I said, we may not always like the answers or the information we hear that help us with closure, but at least we hear something that makes sense to us, at least.
And here's the cold part. Dr. Romani is cooking, right? But she's just talking about being in a relationship with narcissists. What about the dysfunctional people who have a hard time apologizing? Who have a hard time acknowledging what they did? See, a lot of times people can listen to Dr. Romani and go, oh, she just talking about them crazy people, the narcissistic folks. She's not talking about, she's talking about you too. She's talking about you too. So many people have a difficult time confronting the first hurt, the book of Genesis of pain in their spirit. When did that happen to you? And when it happened, it froze you in time. And you grew up chronologically, but you carried that frozen wound into every relationship. And unbeknownst to you, it was the magnet that drew the person in so it could thaw out. Oh, no, but you've integrated it into your identity. You want to keep it frozen. You want to save it. It's a family heirloom. Oh, we got callers. And Zinga, please give us your final thoughts. We on fire tonight.
No, just know that sometimes it doesn't have anything. It's less about you. And, sometimes you just have to accept what is. And it's easier said than done. It's easier said than done, but it's always for the best. If the universe is fine-tuned and God sees the end from the beginning, it was all ordained.
It was all meant to be. Come on. And Zinga, let me just say I love you. I appreciate you for tonight's topic. Definite barn burner. You brought Pensacola, Florida in the building. Nothing but love for Nzinga. All right, then. Listen, when we come forward, I got the phone lines. We're going to Houston, Texas, and we're going to Miami, Florida. Let's get it.
He's on fire tonight. It's the Voice of Reason with Zoe Williams, exclusively on KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Amber Payton with 4 things you should know from BIN News. Michael Strahan responded to backlash for not placing his hand over his heart during the NFL on Fox's Veterans Day broadcast. Some saw it as disrespectful, but Strahan clarified he deeply respects the military, noting his father, brother, and sister served. He emphasized he had no protest or statement to make. President Biden and President-elect Trump have concluded their meeting at the White House. The two met in the Oval Office today for about 2 hours. Both spoke of a peaceful transition of power and shook hands, with Biden giving his congratulations. The Federal Aviation Administration is banning U.S. flights to Haiti for 30 days after 3 flights were hit with gunfire while landing in the country this week. And a new report shows inflation accelerated last month. Consumer prices rose 2.6% year over year in October, according to the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics data released on Wednesday. Get BIN News on demand 24/7 at BINnews.com.
Black Friday buildup is here at Lowe's. Get up to 35% off select major appliances, plus save up to $500 when you buy select LG major appliances. Valid 10/24 through 11/5 cannot be combined with additional discounts. See Lowe's.com for details and qualifying items while supplies last.
Feeding Our Friends on the Outside will be hosting its 15th annual Feeding the Homeless event in Greater Los Angeles on Sunday, November 10th from noon until at 11129 South Central Avenue in Los Angeles. If you would like to donate or volunteer, please call 310-981-6377 or email them at feedingourfriends05@gmail.com. feedingourfriends05@gmail.com. It's the 15th anniversary of Feeding Our Friends on the Outside, Sunday, November 10th from noon until 11129 South Central Avenue in Los Angeles. For more information, call 310-981-6377. 310-981-6377. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Join the Black Hollywood Education and Resource Center for a great day in Black Hollywood. Friday, November 15th, 7 p.m. at the Regal LA Live Theaters, downtown Los Angeles. This is the opening night celebration of the 30th annual S.E. Manley African American Short Film Showcase, honoring Deborah Pratt, Lyndon Barrios, Janine Sherman Barrios, Art Sims, Dee Stevens, Gina Lemieux Davis, and Dr. Gloria Zervine. The weekend continues on Saturday, November 16th and November 17th with over 60 short films and industry panels on careers in Hollywood and directors on directing. Get your tickets today at bherc.org or call 323-957-4656. Again, 323-957-4656. See you there. That's bherc.org.
KBLA Talk 1580.
We've got a lot to talk about. KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. Worried about eviction? You have rights, and Stay Housed LA can help. Stay Housed LA is a partnership between LA County, the City of Los Angeles, and local service providers. From Lancaster to Long Beach, we're here to help you with tenant education workshops, legal clinics, free legal services for eligible tenants, and online resources about tenant protection laws. Don't face eviction alone. Call our hotline at 1-888-694-0040. That's 1-888-694-0040. Or visit stayhousedla.org. Stay Housed LA, keeping Los Angeles residents in their homes. Stay Housed LA, your rights, your home, our community. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Tips to help improve your credit score in 2024. Establishing credit is an important key to achieving financial health, but building a credit history from scratch can feel challenging since you need credit to build credit. First, what does it mean to build credit? All consumers have a score between 300 and 850. You want your score to be as high as possible as lenders look at your credit score to make loan and credit decisions. A good credit score shows you have a track record of borrowing money responsibly. Remember, it's never too late to build or rebuild your credit. This segment is sponsored by J.P. Morgan Chase & Company.
KBLA Talk 1580.
We've got a lot to talk about.
Imagine a Los Angeles where everyone can thrive, where communities have access to the resources they need to succeed. That's the vision of Detours Mentoring Group, Inc. They're dedicated to improving life in LA County by providing educational support, employment assistance, and spaces for community engagement. By 2050, they want LA to be the best place to connect, create, learn, live, and play. They're working toward an education system that's well-resourced and culturally responsive, becoming a hub for artists and innovators, and making sure everyone has access to healthy food, quality healthcare, and safe housing. It's about building a future where we all have the chance to succeed. We invite you to learn more about their mission and get involved with Detours Mentoring Group, Inc. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
You're listening to the Voice of Reason with Zoe Williams. Only on KBLA Talk 1580.
Yeah, shorty. I see. Go ahead and show with your friends. Holla.
Don't be mad. I'm not trying to offend. Your shape is captivating. But I'ma be patient. If I have to, I'ma just fall back. Ain't no need to press the fact that I'm open off your style. You're sexy when you walk. I ain't even heard you talk, yeah. If your voice is as fly as your skin tone, then I already know what you sound like when you moan. I don't wanna be patient, don't wanna jump the gun. I don't want somebody else to screw you, but I'ma be patient. Maybe I wanna see.
Living is, as we said, a series, a succession of conflict, struggle, pain, sorrow, and all the rest of it. This is not a gloomy picture. You can paint it more beautifully in colors, descriptively made more attractive, but this is a fact. So shouldn't we understand life first, the living, and then come to understand what is death? It's not the other way around. What will you give, not financially, what will you give to find out how to, in what manner one can live totally differently. Not pursue some other quacky nonsense. A new painting, new poems, new dances, and all the rest of that immature, childish stuff. And the speaker is not intolerant. He just sees all this going on. So, can we...
I know at this stage, Krishnamurt, it's in the 80s. He's old now. And but did you hear what he said? We're riddled by misery, by guilt, by shame. We're riddled with this stuff psychologically. He said, what are you willing to give to live and think differently? That's what a frozen wound is. It's a moment in time. And regardless of your chronological age, you take that moment into every relationship couched in expectations that are supposed to move the relationship forward, but ultimately serve as a garrison for your unhealed wound. That is not a healthy relationship. Your partner is not supposed to be security for your unhealed wound. It's not. Again, we're talking about closure. If you can't close the first wounds that happened to you, how will you ever get closure in this non-ending cycle of rupture and repair in intimate relationship? It's a non-ending cycle. Why? Because we are whips in progress, works in progress, whips, right? Listen, You can't tell me that the avoidant attachment style isn't out here making hit records like Thriller. What are you talking about, Zoe? They created a whole means of breaking up without talking, ghosting. That's the Thriller album. That's wanna be starting something for relationships. They created a whole methodology of just, I'm not saying nothing. No closure, we're ghosting. Audi 5000. Oh, don't, anxious, preoccupied use it too. But they're using it for the wrong reason. I'll do it until they get the message that I matter. Oh, that doesn't work either. None of this is closure. That's what the great Krishnamurti is talking about. How you gonna live differently? You can't live differently if you live in the consciousness of shame, guilt, apathy, grief, fear, desire, anger. Do you see? There won't be any self-closure, let alone any intimate relationship closure. Let me get Hustle in here. He's been on the longest, 38 minutes. I'm sorry, Hustle. Get in here, man. What are your thoughts on tonight's topic, my friend?
Hey, what's up, brother?
Oh, man, I'm all right. How you, man?
I'm pretty well. So I came in to have some anxious confessions.
Here we go. All right, anxious confessions.
Yeah. So I used to withhold closure.
Wow.
And it's interesting, right? Because you think anxious, we're kind of known for wanting the closure, right?
Right.
But the way I had it was, I don't want you moving on until I move on.
Gosh.
So, right?
That's kind of harsh, Hustle. Wow. That's controlling. That's wreaking narcissism. That's a lot. You're like, you don't get to leave until. Oh God, I'm just. Yo, man, I love you for the transparency, but damn, okay. Tell us where the bodies are hidden. Let's go. Come on.
But listen now, here's the thing about it. It's partly because, avoidance. They move on before they move on. So they the monkey branch queens, oh, you see what I'm saying?
Right.
So it's like, I don't want to give you that satisfaction. That's where a lot of it was coming from. But we've grown since then. You know what I mean?
I would hope so, brother.
And to be fair about it, the withholding closure comes from us not giving the closure when we were supposed to. We could have got the closure if we would have ended it when we were supposed to. That's what I had to be real about.
Right. That's big.
You know what I'm saying?
When we were supposed to.
Right.
And whatever that anxious, preoccupied, longing and hoping that it would turn around, it caused us not to get off at our stop. We stayed on the train. We should have got off. Damn. Keep going.
You know what I'm saying? Bro, we see the monkey on it. We know the monkey's there before they even grab the branch. You see what I'm saying? We were supposed to hop off of that tree.
Yeah.
It's got to be real. That's why, But that's why I'm saying this is in hindsight now.
Right. You're not doing this no more. Like, no closure for you until I get closure.
No, I look forward to closure now.
Right. Yeah.
Because you know what I'm saying? If I'm supposed to be out of something, then let me get up out of there.
Right.
Yeah.
Man, I'm proud of your growth, brother. This is powerful right here, man. I appreciate you, my friend.
Yeah, all day, man. We just sharing stories and growing off of each other. You feel me? Pause. I don't. That ain't sound right, but you get what I'm saying, bro. Andy, you don't got the church music.
Hey man, damn, you brought Miami in, but all right, Dade County, thank you for the call. I got to stick it out now. What in the feast of Sam Hain is going on, man? Did Halloween happen yet? It's over? Okay, cool. Fright Night. All right, let's get our callers in here, man. When I come forward, you already know what it is, man. We got to talk to Atala from Houston, Texas. Trust me, she going to break this thing down for us.
Is it good to you? More Voice of Reason with Zoe Williams when we come forward.
Medicare open enrollment is here, and it's a time you can make changes to your health coverage. Yet, watch out for enrollment and marketing scams. Remember, Medicare will neither call you nor solicit your business. Guard your card. Never give out your Medicare number to strangers. Unsolicited calls, door-to-door visits, and emails are prohibited. Take your time. Don't feel pressured to make a quick decision. Report scams to our California Senior Medicare Patrol at 1-855-613-7080. Hey, LA, it's time to step up and be a climate change hero. Go Metro and help us shape a better future for all Angelinos. From enhancing our diverse communities to preserving our planet, Metro is dedicated to making a positive impact with every ride. Start your journey at metro.net.
To the 100 million people who owe the IRS money, this message is for you. We've helped tens of thousands of people close the door on their tax debt. So if you feel like you're stuck in a hole with IRS tax debt, then this is the easiest way to get a resolution quickly. To qualify for a no-pay or low-pay resolution, visit taxclosure.org to get free from the IRS once and for all.
To keep your bank accounts, income, and assets secure, tax closure is your same-day cure.
Fam, some of y'all need to hear this. If you owe the IRS $8,000 or more, if you haven't filed your taxes, or if you are going through an audit and you're fighting the IRS, you need someone on your side, an ally. Allies Tax Relief has a large team of professionals that negotiates with the IRS on behalf of taxpayers just like you. Allies Tax Relief will protect your wages from being garnished, your bank account from being levied, and your assets from being seized by the IRS. Allies Tax Relief has fought for thousands of Americans in your situation. There's no reason to be embarrassed. Don't let fear stop you from calling and resolving your issue. Call 800-854-2815 today for a free consultation. Allies teams of tax attorneys, CPAs, and enrolled agents have negotiated millions in IRS tax debt, and they're ready to fight for you. Call today for the freedom you've been waiting for. Call 800-854-2815 or visit alliestaxrelief.com.
Climate justice, climate equity, climate resilience. By any other name, we demand environmental justice in 2024 and beyond. We're KBLA Talk 1580, and we don't black down.
Hey there, Los Angeles. This is James Lucky Jr., publisher and editor of Los Angeles News Observer. Are you hungry for news that matters to you in the African-American communities of Los Angeles? Well, buckle up, because we got the scoop you've been craving. Stay in the know and never miss a beat with our free weekly publications conveniently available near you. Or hop on the digital wave and become an exclusive subscriber at OGNSC.com. Don't forget to join the party on Instagram and Twitter at OGNSCINC for behind-the-scenes access and sizzling updates. No more FOMO. Let's stay informed, connected, and empowered together.
You know you want some more. It's the Voice of Reason with Zoe Williams on KBLA Talk 1580.
Quincy Jones.
Like if you start to think of what are we afraid of? In fact, sometimes that's an exercise that's done just to write down, what are you afraid of? And sometimes you need several notebooks. And you can write down particular instances like afraid of a particular dog that day, or afraid of a particular distressing person who was begging on the street, or afraid of a confrontation that you had at work that brought up fear, or afraid of someone in your immediate family, or someone in your past. It goes deeper, though, than the outer circumstances, and if you look deeper, and then you realize it's, fear of not being good enough, fear of losing something, fear of not being loved, fear of, lots of, sometimes they're called core beliefs that we hold about ourselves, deeply held fears, which sometimes are not even verbalized, but deeply held fears.
Come on, Pima Chodron. She don't be playing. Pima's like, she's a lot like Krishnamurti, man. You can't have closure if there's fear. The reluctance to let go of the known. Even if the known is toxic, how can there be closure? Do you see? That's cognitive dissonance. Oh, I can hold on to all my toxic knowns, but I'm going to need closure from you as we exit this thing. What? Or worse, I'm not going to give you closure. I'm going to hold the closure hostage. It's heavy stuff, man. Heavy stuff. We got a caller on the line. Atala from Houston, Texas. My niece, what up? Atala, what's the deal? What are your thoughts on tonight's topic?
All right, so I'm going to make this quick and short. So you're an INFJ like me, right?
You going to put my business out in the street?
I just need a yay or a nay. That's it. That's it.
Yes, okay.
Right, so have you heard of the INFJ door slam?
Yes.
Right. So we be guilty of it too, right? We get a little bit too tired of folks giving and giving.
Boom.
And not receiving, and then boom, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I have a few questions that I want to ask. And you can just kind of think on this, and it got to be a response. Are you looking for closure from a closed door? That's number one.
Ooh.
Number two, do you forfeit your closure when you self-sabotage?
Ooh, yes.
Number three, is a loser mindset contributing to your desire for closure?
Oh, ouch.
And lastly, can closure really just be a setup for casting the first stone while you're sitting in a glass house?
Oh, my goodness. Yes, all of that is yes to all of it.
Right.
Great observation. So many, but I think this goes back to the clip you provided on Krishnamurti when he talks about the utter misery that we live in as people, right? So let me give you an example. Most of us have no emotional literacy. Like really, like we have very low emotional literacy, right? I would say most of us are emotionally illiterate, but we want a great relationship. Okay. And then there's cognitive dissonance and closure, right? So we're confused and broken internally, but externally, I'm going to need closure. Or I'm going to do what Hustle did. I'm going to withhold closure, right?
Facts. And my thing with that, not to cut you off, but to me, closure is relative. I feel like there's always going to be a way that somebody's going to be like, you didn't do this enough or didn't say this enough, didn't answer whatever questions I may have had, right? So if closure is relative, then it's also biased. Not saying that you don't necessarily need it. I personally couldn't care less. I always get those two mixed up. I don't know. For me, it's not really a concern anymore.
Why you could care less. Let's not.
Because I'm avoidant.
There we go. Like, stop. Don't try to flaunt your superpower while calling somebody like, I'm avoidant.
Well, you were just gangbanging on the avoidance anyway. So like, I wasn't even gonna say nothing about that. You was gangbanging on us earlier anyway.
You guys it was a compliment. It was a compliment. I said y'all created the Thriller album of breakups. Like, ghosting is want to be starting something. It's Beat It. It's Billie Jean. Come on, people.
See, but let's keep it real though. Ghosting happens way before ghosting actually happens.
That's a shame.
And I hate to say it, for anxious preoccupied, they be ghosting reality. So I don't want to hear nothing about ghosting. You up here ghosting reality, creating fantasies and all that. But then you get mad when the person doesn't want to play your little reindeer games and live in your reality. It don't work like that.
She in here repping her side, like fearful avoidance.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that there are multiple ways to look at this. Mm-hmm. And I think the more self-sufficient you become and the more self-aware you become, the less you really need other people's validation, but also their closure. It really don't matter to you at a certain point, because I'm like looking at, okay, well, what did I learn from this? Not what can you give me so that I can feel good about myself again.
I love it. Atala, guess what you just did?
I brought Houston in the building.
Houston, Texas is in the building. You know how we do on The Voice of Reason. We start conversations, but it's really up to you to finish them. It really is. I think closure is impossible if you're tormented, with psychological wounds, deep-seated issues, unhealed childhood struggles. Like, all of that stuff gets played out in your intimate relationships. And a lot of times people are afraid of relating because I think at some point they know something else is going to happen, right? And I think the reason why they know something else is going to happen, not just because we're human beings and we're all flawed, but because I think on a deeper subconscious level, they know I haven't addressed what needs to be addressed internally. You understand? Like, if you have guilt in your spirit and trying to get in a relationship, that's going to be a struggle. Shame, apathy, grief, fear, all of that stuff is going to serve as a type of, it's going to be like radioactive to happiness in relationship. You have to reconcile these things. Listen, I started the conversation. It's up to you to finish it. I'm the VOR, the voice of reason, here on KBLA Talk 1580. I'll be back tomorrow, which is my Friday, with another barn burner, another slapper. Zoe Williams, VOR. See you tomorrow.
Look at them brown noses. My clique pulling up with purple roses, purple diamonds, pinky rings, purple doja. Heaven had the motor. Look at the earth she banging. Gucci purse, wondering what ghetto that she came from. She gangster from her head to her feet. By birth, I'm a soldier. Bet the pearl tongue sweet, and I felt the world when we met. She felt like something I never forget. Something